Okay, hello. We're back at it again, you guys, here on B Rated. I don't know what episode we're on, maybe 6 or 5 right now. We've got Marlon A. Medina. That A stands for Alexander. And yes, a very, very big name. He's conquering all in marketing. Your needs can be met with this guy, one-stop shop. And I might want to include myself in there, not in the marketing part, but if there's video too as well, I might be there. I might show up. You never know when I'm going to show up. I'm your friendly neighborhood black man, Lee Cummings, your host for Be Rated, taking you off the couch and into action. So, Marlon, what do we got going on here? We need some good tidbits. We were talking earlier before this started about our doppelgangers. I need to start off with that first right now. Okay, I've got a white pastor. You've got a white pastor as well.
Mexican pastor, something, yeah.
Okay.
So let me get some context into
Right,
it.
go ahead.
Okay, so as I'm rising through the ranks a little bit, you start to want to search up your name and stuff.
Okay.
Admittedly, maybe a little bit conceited, but you want to see how you fare against other people that have your name. And, growing up being named Marlon, there's not too many people, at least in pop culture, that pop up. You got Marlon Brando,
Marlon
got like,
Wayans.
yeah, Marlon Wayans, yeah, in the comedy space and stuff like that. But you usually don't run into people of your name. So when you look yourself up, you're like, I'm probably gonna be like number one or number two. I bought my own domain for my first and last name, but no, there's other guy named Marlon Medina. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me see what he's about. He's a cool guy or whatever. And I look him up. Okay, he's like a pastor or whatever, and he's like one of those like evangelical types that like love to like just be on TV and stuff and like talk about themselves. Like, cool, that's fine, I guess. Then all of a sudden, I go through the Reddit, dude. I go through the Reddit, and it's on the first page, which is really annoying.
Okay.
And he's got a bad rep, man. He's like one of those crooked pastors, straight up. Like, you look at his Reddit, first thing you see, insert first name, last name of me, and it says narcissistic pastor. And you go down a little bit, and then it's like predatory guide. I'm like, holy crap, dude, this guy has my name. So that's why the emphasis is on the A. I generally don't rep my middle name a lot, but I have to put Marlon A. Medina in a lot of like my professional stuff because I don't want to be confused with this pastor guy. I'm like, dude, if I see you, dude, you got to change your name, dude. You're done. There can only be one, dude. So
That's yeah. It sounds like a favorite show of mine. There can only be one. What show was that called? Marley, I'm looking at show. What is the There Can Only Be One show? The I think Henry Cavill is going to be redoing the old episodes, but it was a movie. What the hell was it called? It was like basically you take on the power of if I'm powerful and you kill me, you
okay.
make it all people before me.
Oh,
I don't.
sure. It like adds up.
It adds up.
Oh, I like that.
And Henry Cavill is going to be redoing the show, and I forget if there's listeners out there. You'll tell us what the
You
show.
mean like the only Superman? All right.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, let's not even go there.
Of this era? Okay, I know. I go into the yeah. No, someone's gonna kill me in the comments just for that.
No, that's fine. But I want to. So we have doppelgangers, and um, some of us not good ones. I have one too as well. I don't know who this guy is, but he doesn't share. I'm Lee Ernest Cummings the third, which I don't rep my middle name because people are like Ernie. I'm like, don't fucking do that because it's Ernest, and there's not many Ernests, but
Yeah.
Lee Ernest Cummings the third, and his two names at the third. I'm like, I'm actually the third generation of Lee's. My grandfather's Lee Ernest Cummings Senior, and my dad's Junior. So everyone kept calling me Junior
There you go.
when I was growing up, but I wasn't Junior. I was the third. I'm the third, and it sounds like I'm special.
Sounds regal, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm the third. It was like, but I wasn't trying to correct him like that, like I'm aristocracy, like
Yeah.
look at me. No, it's just that was my name. So I always grew up like Lily. So because my dad was Big Lee and I was literally like Lily, like which one? My dad's like, well, you're Lily because you're small.
Oh,
You know how tall my dad is, bro?
how tall is he?
5'2".
5'2". Oh man, gargantuan, dude. You put him in Guatemala, dude is a giant.
He's a giant, bro. Like I willed myself to grow. When I was like 9, my dad looked me dead eye to eye and says, "You're not gonna grow anymore. I'm sorry." I'm like, "No, Dad." And I willed myself to grow. I'm 5'9". I'm the tallest person in the family.
You got to, dude. You got to tower over, dude. That's the whole idea of DNA
Yeah.
and genetics is you got to surpass your predecessors, otherwise you're not evolving.
Just
So
food.
there you go.
I was terrified.
Older than my
Yeah.
parents too. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how to do it.
you got to do it. So between the doppelgangers and what we're doing, and actually mentioned something which I know and you know better than anybody else, as far as marketing needs and stuff like that. That's what part of this is about. But when we talk about marketing, we talk about earning or not nomenclature, but earning your own space. Like if it's straightforward media to have the .com, the .net, the
Right.
.tv.
All the
Is
good.
that still going? Is that still in effect? Like when you're doing Instagram and stuff like that?
I mean, the space matter totally different,
Okay.
right? So like, you talk about people who are like .com, marketing people back in the day. Now they're like later age millennials or Gen X, and in their time it was like, yeah, like once you get that domain, like if you were one of those people that in that time you got, I don't know, freaking experience.com or whatever, like
Right.
bam, you freaking made it. That domain is probably worth a lot, monetized, and that's great. Nowadays, it doesn't really work like that because there's so many different mediums to place yourself into, right? So if I was like the first guy who, Red Note or whatever that recently opened up, if I was the first guy to get my name on there, it's not really a big deal.
Okay.
Even if you got like, I don't know, the name Walmart on Red Note, like doesn't really matter. I mean, apart from like making parody accounts or something like that, right? So it's not like a huge deal as it was back when the internet was a baby because that was the
Like
only channel.
yeah, you're right.
Now you got all your search and stuff is like split up between all the different social medias. They're kind of like their little search channels. So
Yeah, that's pretty interesting that you say that because when we were first coming up with AOL was hitting, and I remember having my first AOL account. I think it was Puff Combs because I was trying to get Sean. That wouldn't have fared well.
oh,
That would not have aged very well at all. But I had
uh,
Puff Daddy,
yeah,
as my, and I think I might have had Sean Combs too as well. But I was just trying to buy stuff
yeah,
up then and buy names because that was worth maybe money. And they tried to make it illegal.
right.
So during the whole .com age, that was really weird. I remember my buddy Kevin Springer took me to Vegas. Never been to Vegas in my life.
Okay,
And I was like 30 something years old, or maybe I was just turning 30, 30
okay,
or 29. And we stayed at the Rio. Bro, I won, and switching subjects a little bit, but I won the whole, I'm playing the carnival game, like the 3-card poker or whatever.
okay.
I won $6,400. I hit like not a straight, but I hit like a full house.
Dude, you freaking
I won.
you beat the code, dude.
I
Yeah.
won. I mean,
Okay.
since then, we've been gambling, playing craps, and we've been losing our asses.
It's investing. You've been investing.
We've been investing.
Right. What every Vegas or write-off says, okay? They're just
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a write-off. Some of these guys have write-offs from some of the card
Yeah.
games they're playing and poker and stuff like that, so which is very interesting. But back to
Yeah.
what we're here to be talking about. Are there ways for people to, like, for instance, say someone has a podcast.
Yeah.
How how do you go from, kind of a B-rated positioning to someone actually knowing you? Because like right now, the problem that I have is that I can't really run unless it's under 1 gig, 47 minutes onto Instagram.
Mhm.
As far as a podcast is concerned? Or what would you do with that like longer format stuff? How do you get those people to follow you to go to yet another place like YouTube? Like, hey, listen to our stuff on YouTube.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think it's just becoming a part of that person's routine is really the only way about it.
Okay.
Because people don't watch TV or marathons in the same way that they used to. I mean, of course, people watch marathons all the time. They binge stuff, but it's all on their terms. They have absolute control of everything.
Yeah.
They want to go back into their room. They
Yeah.
play it on their phone. They continue to watch it on the TV. They listen to it in the car or whatever. So it's like if you want to have that like long-term impact, you got to be in front of someone's face in so many different aspects of their life to the point where it becomes something of habit. It becomes like something that just calms you down almost to the point. I know I'll give an example of this. And I know it sounds weird, but there's people like me, so I'm not the only weird one.
Right.
I feel like a calming effect whenever I listen to like scary stories.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, I just listen to them as like audiobooks or whatever, like throughout the day, and it's like something dark went inside the closet and I was terrified or whatever. And I'm just listening to this while I'm working. I'm like, okay, this is nice. This is
Really?
yeah, I know. So, with that being said,
Uh,
like those podcasters became a part of my regular routine.
Okay.
Did they do anything special? No, but they were consistent and they were across all the major platforms
Okay.
that were relevant to them. And that's the major thing. It's like you got to be relevant
Okay.
to that industry and who you're trying to reach.
Mm.
Example, in my line of work, I work with people of all ages.
Right.
I work with some people that are, big wigs back in the day and like they really know their domain. They got a lot of money.
Right.
And if they don't humble themselves down, that's when they have an issue because they think, oh yeah, I'm major investor or whatever. I know how to operate TikTok. I've cracked the algorithm. Like, no, you didn't, dude. You're embarrassing yourself because like you're doing something. You're trying to apply like, you know,
Oh,
90s,
yeah.
90s marketing tactics
Right.
into like TikTok. We don't want none of that. You know, what we want is just a method to be just more direct, more conversational. I mean, this is what I mean about conversational. Look at this. I mean, it was just recently announced that like legacy media, or as you know, like major media news stations, they're actually being kicked down a peg. And the US is empowering local content creators to actually speak as media representative.
Wow.
So this was just announced yesterday or the day before. The press secretary literally said, "I don't care if you're a TikTok creator, I don't care if you're a blogger, if you're a YouTuber,
Yeah.
if you're legit and consistent, you can apply for press passes to like cover like the White House and all that kind of
Right.
crazy stuff."
Of
So like
course.
that gives a lot of hope for someone, you know, that's doing things that you are, like a podcast or things like that. I'm like, holy crap, you keep this up, yeah, it's gonna go somewhere. It's
Yeah.
not just gonna be like, oh yeah, you're just gonna cover some like super niche audience and like there's no room for that to become professional.
Yeah.
I mean, there absolutely is. Like it can't get any more legit than like now content creators being able to work directly with the freaking White House.
It's pretty neat that we had a chance to. Well, you got us a gig at CES, and I tell people like we sent Russell over into the ghetto aspect of it, where we first started with Expedience, and then we left over, and you and I jetted over to the real CES where the actual what was it where we shoot. There's two. We shot at the Venetian,
Yeah.
which is the kind of like and then we shot in Summerlin. Well, it's not Summerlin, but they're really nice. Because I mean, people were riding dogs in my area. The food was great. I mean,
What?
remember? Did you never went over on that?
AI dog or something? No, dude. I
Bro,
wasn't there.
it was nothing but I had literally put on a suit
Yeah.
and was able to deadlift like 500 pounds with no
What? You
problem.
put an exoskeleton?
Exoskeleton, yes, they had it over there. I thought you didn't come. That's right. Flying cars.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the like the tough part about someone like if you're listening and you know you're crazy enough to want to be in my industry, want to be a marketing guy. Like
Yeah.
a lot of times people think that it's like all fun and games. Like you get to like jump in with the rest of the crew. You know, fortunately, it's not like that all the time because you're managing so many different things.
Absolutely.
There comes a point where you have to make those decisions and be like, okay, do I want to jump in with the crew and have fun with them or stuff, or do I have to jump on this other project and do this and that because that's going to help us in long run? So sometimes you got to make that executive decision and be like, you know what, I just got to back out. You guys enjoy.
No, you were busy as
Yeah.
hell. I mean, you had like at least 3 projects on the burner
Dude,
while we were shooting that one.
while that is happening, yeah,
And then we knew it was coming because I said, Marlon, I think that they're going to be, they need the person. You're like, oh, you need the person. That's what we called Russell
yeah.
because they were out of a person like, you're here tomorrow, right? I'm like, no.
And that's the part that's really important is like you got to build like those like spidey sense reflex muscles.
Yeah.
And you don't get those studying marketing in college. You really don't.
Yeah.
You only get those reflexes by actually being in the industry and making a ton of mistakes and regretting a lot of decisions.
Absolutely.
And then after that, you learn, oh yeah, you know what? I'm pretty good at this now. I can kind of predict what that client is going to do. I know their habits. I know their inclinations, like even like down to like how they ask me questions. You know, okay, so you're going to be from this to this date, but would you be okay with this date too? Just in case. I'm just saying, I'm like, yeah, that's probably like a 90% chance.
Yeah. And you want me to, which is really nice.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we might be doing an extra day, but don't put it in the books, but just it's in the books.
It's out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really neat because I think that, I think to your credit, when we first met, we back up like maybe 2-3 years or whatever.
Yeah.
You knew that the only way to expand your other side of GMS, Golden Medina Services, was to kind of add another video element of that.
Totally.
And so we're kind of an extension arm of yours. GMS is its own thing, but you realize working with a video person like myself would be great because it's heightened sense to be like, we can get it all done. Because like, well, what about video? Oh, we have that, and you already know we spend time, you know how to price those things out properly. So it's always great. Like we got a video element too as well. And a lot of people, I think that they hold too tightly in marketing, which are really niching themselves like only solo marketing. But like Barry Vandercheck said, man, if you're not shooting video in this age, man, forget about being in business.
Yeah, you'll be done very, very soon. It's so that's kind of like the warning call for everyone else, my colleagues in the space. There's going to be room for acquisition and consolidation.
Okay.
So my direction is acquisition like crazy. So content creators, it's such a weird term, content creators, right? Because it just covers so much.
Right.
But nowadays, pretty much everyone that is an entrepreneur in some kind of way is trying to be their own content creator.
Absolutely.
So what does that do? Well, it's great because it's more freedom to the people, but it also really weakens a lot of individual marketers.
Yes, it does.
They don't know how to stand out against that, right? Because if you have someone that is like a smaller agency than me, that's just maybe, you know, a 1 or 2 person team, and then you got a content creator that is willing to underprice them like crazy, that content creator is going to rake in money.
Right.
Even if it's small money, but they're going to get so much volume from it. They're going to outpace, you know, a 1 or 2 guy marketing team that kind of knows their stuff. Even if they really know their stuff, they're still going to be outpaced because they're not, you know, flexible enough to adjust in that market. So I realized early on, because I started this, believe it or not, in 2017. So it's been seasoned for quite a while.
Right.
You know, I knew the warning signs. You know, we killed COVID. It wasn't a challenge for us. It was actually like a highlight for us because so many people realized that they needed online. So I was privy to that, and I recognized that video would be a lot stronger. There was warning signs back then. Hey, you got to do video. You got to do video. So although there's still many people that succeed in my space, and when I say my space, you know, it's a creative marketing space. I'm not so much like a technical guy. I do get involved in a lot of the creative process too, but if you're a creator and you're still going at things at a 1 or 2 person army, it's really hard, you know. So either merge with someone else,
Right.
or get out of the industry, which a lot of them are getting out of the industry. They're just becoming little content creators, but they got like a full-time job somewhere else.
Right.
Or you're going to be acquired. And you know, I wouldn't mind checking you out if anyone's willing to sell their business. You know, a little shout out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no
Always looking to combine and grow, because we know that the bigger fish are doing that already, and they're coming after us. I mean, it's Vegas.
Yeah.
Branching out a little bit out of just marketing and going to the broader field of entertainment.
Yes.
You know, the entertainment bigwigs from LA are coming here.
Yes.
So yes, that absolutely affects marketing too. It's not just the talent side of the entertainment space. So be ready to collaborate or die, really is the truth.
You know, with NAB coming up, you know, in April, I told all the guys, all the students, stuff like that, that NAB is like CES, but CES is just on another level too as well. They both are, but CES was really interesting. I feel like this year we started off a lot stronger, and I know you've always had other projects, but as far as video is concerned, on adding us to it, this year was different than any other year from January to February, which we're really running and gunning. And I feel like
This month has been crazy, man. Dude, I feel like I've been in January for like 6 months, dude.
it feels like it.
Jam packed. Yeah, it's such a freaking blessing. But I think that has to do with like people just recognizing Vegas and recognizing that the time is right here.
It really is.
You know, I mean, listen, there's a lot of things that you could say to knock California, and I don't want to do that because you're local California,
Right.
But you know, the fact of the matter is that it's deteriorating as a place.
It really is.
Every single year, more people realize that, and every single year, more people realize how awesome Vegas is, and we don't have fires and this. Thank goodness, you know. But so for those that are creatives in Vegas, it lets us capitalize on it, you know. And that's the part about collaboration that's so key. The reason why our growth starts to become more exponential isn't because I'm doing anything magical or whatever. It's literally just I'm aggregating all of our past performance and putting it out there into the world.
That's exactly it.
And so that's what, you know, going a little apart from just being a video person to, you know, being a creator in general, portfolio is everything. Right? It doesn't matter what you do, portfolio is everything.
Yeah.
So if you're a one and done guy, you do your own stuff, and let's say you do like 1 gig a month, at the end of that year, you're just going to have 12 gigs to show someone potentially for a portfolio. But if you partner with an agency like me, where we have like 5 or 6 different people simultaneously that can film, that doesn't even include the people that can edit, which they have their own portfolios.
Exactly.
But if we just average, just to be conservative, let's say we have like 2 gigs a month. That's 2 gigs times 6 at the end of the month every single year. Now look at what our portfolio looks like. We got a huge freaking portfolio,
Absolutely.
and then divvy up and and see who's best, for that kind of project. So that's
Mhm.
why it's like I'm about simple math. The
Mhm.
simple math is you collect people's work, promote it,
Mhm.
and everyone wins.
Absolutely. No, it's a great win-win, and that's we started the a little shameless plug for us, but Real Fleet Academy, which has been wonderful. Um,
I wish I had the mug, by the way.
I know it's dirty right now, but the biggest thing is like Real Fleet Academy is wonderful because the fact is that having students be able to come, and I know it works because we have like 13 or 14 graduates now,
Yeah,
and
crazy, dude. Time
it,
freedom flies.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And I mean, talk to Steven. I knew Steven for over 2 years. And a lot of these guys are coming to 2 years, but they stayed.
Yeah,
And now the fact that you and your brother were doing something out of Arizona, and you're pushing down the loop, which is we need more graduates and stuff like that to be able to give people jobs. That's the biggest thing. Like we're pushing forward, which is not only are you scaling up, but you're
yeah,
scaling with people that actually do need help,
yeah,
that do have and have paid their dues with myself inside of the school the school that we created, so that's a great thing to be able to do that. Not everybody can say they can have a mentorship or a program like that, and then on top of that, give them real world experience making, 50 to 25 to $50 an hour,
yeah.
you know?
The crazy reality of that is too, it's like that is just such a simple, straightforward process. I mean, the student teacher relationship has existed for thousands of years.
Absolutely.
And the fact that that is primarily what helps scale a lot of what we do in Real Fleet and even at the GMS side of things, it exists because of that teacher student relationship. So I guess if anyone wanted a tip on like how to scale their agency is just don't hesitate to teach what you know to people. And I think that's a mistake I made earlier on. As an entrepreneur, when I was 20, all I wanted to do was just hoard everything to myself. I'm like, geez, I want to keep all this money, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the only way I'm going to do it is just hoard it all myself. Don't tell anyone anything. And that was like the hugest mistake I made, business wise during that age because I said no to taking a mentor. And I literally had people that made millions at the time, hey, you're a sharp guy or whatever. Do you want to mentor in this? You want to do? I'm like, no, thanks.
Yeah.
I just completed like an internship. I was killing it at marketing for this mortgage company. I was like, I'm done, dude. Like, I remade life. Like, come on now, chill out, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, looking back at that now, like 8 freaking years later, I'm like,
Mm.
oh yeah, I really could have used the good old mentorship. I could have used something like, what we offer at Real Fleet Academy, or maybe something a little different, in the marketing side. But like, yeah, don't slack off of like the mentorship idea, and like never be afraid to seek another learning opportunity.
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
great.
even now I don't stop learning. I tend to work. I even take on clients or partnerships with people that are way older and more experienced than me. And I don't know, it's kind of fun, like seeing all these people that are way wealthier than me,
Yeah.
yet somehow they still look up to me for advice. And I'm like,
Cool.
dude, what are you talking about? Like, you can buy like
Yeah. 10 times.
everything. You're 10
Yeah.
times more buying power than me.
Right.
But that goes to show that if you know your stuff,
Hmm.
the right people are gonna recognize you.
That's awesome.
So
Can you talk anything about, do we talk about DR or anything like that?
yeah,
Or a project? Yeah, because I think it's a great project. One, you know, and I'll let you explain it, but just I want to say a little bit about DR, meeting him for the first time and
yeah,
working on Tiny Tales as it is. It's an amazing project. I'll let you kind of finish and dovetail into that. But just him as a human being,
yeah.
one of the nicest people ever met. Yeah, let's just talk about DR a little bit.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
dude,
please.
DR is really awesome. He's probably gonna be watching this right now. But the cool part about what we are developing at Tiny Tales Land is kind of like the environment that's being built around it. Tiny Tales Press is the publishing arm of it. But basically, it's entertainment. It's family friendly entertainment. For kids,
Okay.
for youth. And I don't have kids, but I've been involved in a lot of mentorship opportunities in here in Vegas in my local community.
Okay.
And I would consider myself having been a troubled youth in my teenage years. So I really see every opportunity to help teach students and help them live a better life as like an honor. Like that's like the biggest thing you can do is like impact someone's life. So when DR approached me about this thing about writing stories for kids, and wanting funding for this and wanting to take this to higher levels. And okay, that sounds really interesting, but like, what really like stands out, you know? And then you went through business by business by business, scaling it, selling it, success. And I'm like, okay, I'm talking to this guy over the phone. The first time that we met in person was the time that you met. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
shot.
Everything else has been done through just the phone calls. And the fact that I felt that power through a phone call, and I'm like, this is power. This guy knows what he's doing. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be 20-year-old self. I'm not going to be no thanks.
Right.
Instead, I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm in. Here's my resources. Here's what I can do. Let's make it work. It's definitely a new field for me as a marketing guy, because I usually market to adults, right? Everyone I market to is an adult. It's business to business, or even if I'm marketing consumer products, they're usually all adults.
Okay.
But to develop something like this that is just really for the kids, it's exciting. It's exciting to do something like that.
So tell the listeners and viewers as well, or both, what is Tiny Tales exactly? Because they're probably like, well, what is this? Because
Right.
it's actually
It's huge
it's a
concept.
pretty huge concept.
Yeah, it's kind of like a freaking multiverse. So you have everyone can understand lore. Once you're talking about lore, then it makes it easy, right? MCU,
Right.
Star Wars, and all that stuff. So the concept is, there's a land where these characters are created, and they interact and they teach each other good values, values that aren't stuck on one particular religion. It's just all about being good people, and impacting children in a good way. And so what is becoming out of this is, okay, you got books,
Mm-hmm.
physical component books,
Okay.
you have like YouTube videos, you have podcasts, so you have many channels of entertainment. But one of the most powerful things about this company is that you're going to have the ability as a parent to record your voice and have that live as a memory, so that when your kids open up the book, they can hear it be narrated by your voice,
Great.
or vice versa.
Grandpa.
If you're a parent and you want to cherish that memory, if your child on your lap, they're struggling to read, you're helping them read, all that information is going to be collected, in a secure, encrypted environment where only you can play it back.
That's wonderful.
So that's freaking amazing. Obviously, there's all the big fundraising goals that are associated with that, Kickstarters and all that good stuff. But when it comes down to it, it's a really exciting mission. So not to rep too much, but I think you should really get excited about that. When you're thinking about the future of entertainment, there's a couple things that already exist out there when it comes to family-friendly entertainment. And I feel like when you're young, you kind of think that like that's boring. I'm like, listen, what is this, like Blue's Clues or something? But like, it's like, you sit down for a moment, hold on a second, put some respect on those kid shows,
Yeah.
because they really have an impact on your life and stuff.
Usually.
I mean, we I feel like as Gen Z, right? I mean, we tend to like memify everything and like parody it. But I mean, think about this seriously. Like, what if there was like no Dora the Explorer? What if there's like no, Clifford the Big Red Dog? Like, those things don't exist.
What about you too? Right, Caillou?
I don't. Yeah. You lost me there, dude. You lost me at that.
Is it too young? Oh. No, I think it's about you guys' age.
I don't know. No, I just mean I didn't like it. But
Oh yeah.
but regardless,
Caillou is like, yeah, it was not like Blue's Clues or something like.
but yeah, the point across is that nowadays a lot of the things are made with agendas, and that's just what pisses me off. No matter what you believe in politically or whatever, I don't think kids stuff needs to have an agenda.
Yeah.
I think kids stuff to just teach kids how to be kids and being good people, and that's it.
Right.
So this is not holding any agenda, which is really awesome. You see there's a lot of space for like family-friendly content in platforms like Angel Studios, PragerU for kids, things like that. But they look at things, at least those two firms, from like a Judeo-Christian point of view, which I am. But still, regardless, I want to do something that has a really strong unifying effect that affects even people that aren't religious. I mean, you still believe in respect as a value. So that's what we want to offer, is the opportunity for people to learn. And what's really cool about it is that it's all done with a lot of AI backing it up,
Wow.
which scares some writers away, unfortunately, because a lot of writers see AI as a threat. They're like, "Oh, you shouldn't be using AI to generate the art and all this stuff, or you shouldn't be using it because it's I don't know, somehow non-ethical." I'm like, dude, the only way we're gonna scale like 600 or 700 stories that have already been written by my partners is to literally use AI to help scale that. You don't have, it's just unfeasible to hire what and 5 or 6 or 10 different illustrators to all write, draw those things.
Yeah.
Impossible. Get out of here. You're never gonna get funded. So either you look at things from a technology standpoint,
Right.
or again, you either get acquired, bankrupt, or die. So, that's the way we look at things. We look at things forward facing always.
Okay.
You got to look at technology. You got to embrace it. You got to ride the wave. If you try to go against the wave, we're just going to drown.
Get crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate part of that. I think that, coming from a space, especially B rated, is all about indie, but sometimes that's not saying that we're not trying to ride the wave of whatever might be happening content wise.
Right.
We're teaching them like how to do it another way. And I think that the way you're talking about doing it is kind of like the indie way, which is like you can't afford to hire 700 writers or,
Yeah.
25 writers are going to push out.
Nowadays it's like, why would I want to?
Right.
Why do I want to? Because, that is going to lead to just so much more expense. People think of the expense of hiring, different type of artists and stuff. And of course, I'm an artist in my own way when it comes to marketing and creative. And I love the fellow artists that I work with. But what we need in order to effectively scale a company nowadays is 1 or 2 or 3 really solid creative people or artists, and they need to be employing AI. What we don't need is 20 or 30 individual creatives because it's hard for them to share a solid vision.
Right.
Everyone's going to draw things a little bit differently. Everyone's going to have their own opinions, HR concerns. Now you got to worry about payroll. You got to be this. You don't have to do that crap through AI.
Nope.
And that's the truth of it. And no one wants to do that moving forward. So how do people that are creative exist? Well, you got to actually employ AI yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be outpaced. So even if, you're someone that creates art originally, which I respect that so much, coming from, I come from an illustration background. Okay. I'm the kid that when I was 5 or 6 years old, I would sit and read through Marvel comics and recreate and write my own comics. So I understand the beauty of artistry,
Okay.
but I also understand that we live in a practical world and it's just not practical. If you want the finished product, if you're that good and your finished product has to be done by your hand, congratulations, you've made it. But you need to conceptualize things, and AI is really great for throwing out all those concepts right away. Why would you, do 100 drafts that it's going to take you days, weeks, or even months when AI can make those drafts right away? If you're that final product, cool, be the final product, but why would you want to do all the drafts? I don't know.
Wow.
That's my opinion.
Interesting. Very interesting. There's a lot of bits of analog and, hitting on some of your points are basically like AI heavy. I mean, like that's a lot of what CES, going back to CES, was all about.
It's because I'm a bot, dude. Like Elon Musk out of here. Okay.
Oh, I saw some, well, yeah, that wasn't Elon Musk or somebody else I saw on the Today Show or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, somebody had called him. He just was looking at the camera dead ass, right? And the camera, but like, no stare, no nothing. I don't know.
I think there was this one clip. No, dude, I think it was Bezos, dude. I think Bezos looked at the camera or something. Like,
yeah. There's another black dude, is a skinny black fat dude, whatever. I mean, he's not fat anymore, but he got his tummy like was tied in a knot or whatever.
okay, he on that owns that big. Okay.
Dude, those guys, I don't want to start with Ozempic. If you're on Ozempic, I just want to say some rent. I won't say much about that, but I would say, ladies, be careful out there. If you're over 40, you can still get pregnant.
Not the Ozempic face. Come on now.
Oh, the Ozempic babies are real.
Someone please, editors, please throw in an Ozempic face so people can see what I'm talking about because it's kind of scary.
And also, yeah, because they're losing muscle all over the place. And then,
Yeah.
and women who are over 40 that can't conceive are now conceptualizing babies. They're just magical. They call it Ozempic babies. So
What?
bro?
What
it goes
was it like skyrocketing your fertility or something?
Yeah.
End up. pregnant.
Yeah, and it
Oh,
goes
God.
past your birth control as well.
Oh,
You know, you can grow
interesting.
typical and babies, yeah.
Oh, God.
And they're over 40. He's like, I thought I was on.
I'm not gonna talk. I'm gonna get canceled.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm not saying anything. But all I'm saying is like, be careful with
Yeah.
whatever you use.
Yeah.
Always fast acting. The slower way
Oh,
to win the way to win the race.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's,
Oh, actually be responsible. Oh, no.
yeah, I know. It's like be responsible
Oops.
for yourself and
Yeah.
how you look at things. But anyway, but yeah, CES was wild. I mean, like a
Yeah.
lot of technology was out there. We told everybody we're gonna go to NAB this year, in April and see what's happening, what's cracking with all those cameras and stuff like that. That's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be so interesting because like technology just never stops growing, and you got to study it. I think that like the more
Uh huh.
tech like continues to grow, the more you find like even if you're a content creator listening to this and you're like, dude, I don't care about cameras. Like I got my iPhone 16 or whatever. Like you have to understand like the specs of like truly how things work. Like
Yeah.
if you just got your iPhone because it's aesthetic and like daddy got it for you and you're like, okay, it's cute. I take good selfies with it.
Right.
Like you're not even scratching the surface at all. You got to really understand. I think the best way is to actually get, a real camera and understand the inner workings of it. That way you can actually appreciate how to use this thing.
Thing's badass.
Yeah. I think it's crazy because I've seen like movies made or shot on iPhone
Yeah.
back when it was like 5 or 6 or 8 years ago. I thought, yeah,
Right.
I'm shooting on the iPhone, 12 or whatever. And now you look at that technology and you're like, this is outdated. Well, it's not really that it's outdated. It's just that for your day-to-day consumer, even with the 16, you can't shoot with it if you don't know what the heck you're doing.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter, even if it's the iPhone 25 or whatever, if you don't have the foundational, like the principles of actually how to work and how to be a cinematographer and actually how to tell a story. Like,
Right.
dude, keep on upgrading. You're never going to be able to make a movie unless you know that. So,
Yeah, you've got a lights, sound. I mean, sound design, which I've been kind of teaching lightly, which I'm really falling in love with. It all matters. I mean, like you talked about, you were in a film with by Garrett, directed by Garrett.
shout out
Called,
Garrett.
yeah, and you saw it. You're like, dude, it was actually really good.
Yeah.
Now a lot of that was like, we'd redone myself and uh, Ricardo. We went through and did a lot of sound designing on this thing,
Yeah.
and it's funny. But all elements have to come together. Your acting has to come. Your acting had to come together. Steven's acting had to come together. It all had to come together in order to make this nice product. It's not. Lighting's gonna be great. Lighting can be great, but the acting can be trash. But when it all kind of comes together, you got something. And so all these elements make it look really, really interesting. And I really like that a lot. So kudos on your acting on that too as well.
Man, you know what? I think I'm gonna push away credit. I'm gonna give a lot of it to Garrett, and because when you participate in a lot of fun creative gigs, which is just part of being in Vegas, like I would say, like even if you have like a boring job, dude, like even if you're like,
Come on.
and oh gosh, talk smack with Mac is gonna hate me, but even if you got a boring accountant job, oh, she's he's an accountant, yeah, even you gotta at least be involved in a lot of like creative stuff, or at least one creative thing.
That's pretty whole life too as well.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you have like one job as an extra one time in a film or big film or whatever, like you just do it just to see what it's like.
Absolutely.
It's super fun.
We went all over the place. You were hopping
Yeah.
around. I remember seeing you in there. I saw you in the commercial for Durango, I think.
I'm in the Durango commercial.
You're everywhere. And I also saw you in the pool somewhere. What did I see you in the pool? What was that for?
That was the strap.
Oh,
Yeah.
the rat. Okay.
Strap
Oh,
pool, yeah.
yeah. So you've been doing a lot of things. Is there anything that you can give tidbits? Because you've been in a lot of things. How do you find out about those things? Is there any information you can get to actors, but
Yeah.
actors aren't there?
Yeah. So I think the biggest tip overall, and this is going kind of back to my point of like just being involved, right? And why you should be involved is like you have to like build that network. Even if you're introverted, even you hate talking to people, I have a limit of how much I can handle talking to people. But sometimes you just gotta bum rush an event, dude. You just be a part of it. You gotta bum rush a project and be like, all right, I think you need me. Cool. Jump in on it. And you don't know like what that could lead to. Like don't ever underestimate what a project could be.
Yeah.
At the same time, I would say if you right off the bat, you walk into this project and you just know like this project is trash.
Right.
Don't be afraid to step out, dude. That's my other recommendation to people too is like if the vibes are off, if you don't feel comfortable, that's the other side of Vegas, right? Vegas is also pretty freaking dangerous when it comes to manipulation and like bad events and stuff like that. So exercise caution, but as long as you're careful, there's gonna be so many amazing events. You can find out about them by, like I said, bum rushing an event that you see. The other thing you can do is Facebook is really really good actually for finding events. Become a part of groups. Talk with some of the admins in there.
You've gotten plenty of gigs from some being a
Yeah,
part of
dude.
it, really.
No, and like I feel like a lot of people my age or even younger, they're like, Facebook, what is that? Like,
Yep.
why should I even have it?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that run communities in there. And like even compared to things like TikTok doesn't really have a good groups feature. At least not yet.
No.
So Facebook is really an industry stronghold when it comes to groups.
Mhm.
It's not like as B2B spammy of something like LinkedIn with like no hate towards LinkedIn, but man, I get pitched every single day on there, and most of the times it's completely worthless. But the cool part about Facebook and Facebook groups is like no one's DMing you on Facebook groups unless they really mean business.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna DM me for? What are you gonna do? Poke me or something? Like, what is this? 2005? Like, no one's gonna do that. If they're hitting you up on Facebook and they want to be part of like a business group on Facebook, I don't know. Chances are they're pretty legit. So I would give that a look over. The other thing too, I'm gonna plug us a little bit is you know try to become a part of and engage with an agency or a production crew that you see that's already filming things. Because if they're filming things, guess what? They're gonna need talent. So go after them as well. Don't just try to go after, I don't know, the Walking Dead casting calls, you whatever, dude. Like you're gonna end up nowhere. Like you do 10,000 of those,
Right.
you're still probably gonna end up nowhere, unfortunately, because it's all about who you know.
It is.
And so get to know some people on the local level before you start to try to, become a part of some big casting.
Yeah, it's all about the indie level.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, this is kind of an aside, but not really aside. So, did you ever? I don't know if it's real or not, but did you ever think about selling your phone with TikTok on it?
Oh my
Because I
God.
saw that the other day,
Yeah.
bro. I was dead ass gonna put my phone for $50,000
Okay.
because I didn't know, but you can't download TikTok.
Right. Right.
If you erase TikTok off there,
Yeah.
and people, if you just
Yeah.
try, if you don't have TikTok right now, go try to download it right now. You can't.
Okay. How many creators had like a mini heart attack because of like the TikTok stuff, man? Oh gosh, that was
I was
really
one of those
tough.
people, not the TikTok, yes, but we'd work. You did work at CapCut.
Yeah, so ByteDance and all that were getting bullied by the government, by a big brother, because they actually started sharing truth and all this kind of stuff. So you can't do that in America nowadays. No, I'm just kidding. Well, it's getting a little better, but
Absolutely.
the whole point with the TikTok stuff that was scary was a lot of people had their whole livelihoods and stuff on that. And man, and I was advocating since day one. I'm like, listen, TikTok is not your enemy. The servers are good. They're in good places. They're US based servers. It's different from communist, version or whatever. But anyways, I'm kind of sidetracking here. But like TikTok is really important to people on so many different levels. So it was really stressful when it was about to leave, dude.
It was.
And a lot of business logistics and stuff like that. And I was so mad because I had hundreds of like sounds, video ideas, all these kind of things that like as a creator that are really valuable to you. And I was like, you know what? I think it was like shut down because it was only for like less than 24 hours.
Yeah,
Exactly. But I was like, yeah, like a few hours before, I'm just gonna download all my history. And then when I went to go back, they like ended it early. Like it wasn't even the end of like Saturday or something. And they already like shut it
it's
down.
done.
Yo, what is going on here, dude? I didn't get my time. I was like watching Wolfman or something, and I was mad when I was in the theaters because I got this, and I was like, oh yeah, this would make me mad. What was the question?
Well, it's just about the TikTok and selling
Right.
your phone. Well, you went into a little more
Right.
your graphic, but it's great. Like,
Yeah.
I appreciate it, but like, would you sell your phone?
Yeah, no, I would not sell my phone.
Yeah,
It is very invaluable to the business.
Yep.
But like it was hard because they also like blocked the VPNs from being able to download it. So it was kind of interesting. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, what exactly are they gonna do? Like, are you just gonna give someone your TikTok with like your iCloud and everything, like all your personal information? Like, just give it up?
I might do that. I might be like, I'm out. I mean,
Dude, just give them fake information, just like throw them off, dude.
I
They're
know.
like, yeah, my father's a rich baron in Lithuania or whatever. Like, here's his contact information.
It's wild.
Yeah, little reverse setup there. Like, yeah, he's trying to scam you, and then all of a sudden you scam him.
How they
Yeah,
No, I'm really looking at 50 to 90K because like I could shoot a little something something with that.
I don't understand how people just end up throwing money like that, dude.
I don't
Like,
think
I
they
feel like
would.
if I became rich,
Yeah.
I would still value money, and that's the part I don't understand
Yeah.
with, like, this is, like, the weird part of, like,
Okay.
just what you see online, right, is the fact that some people are willing to pay for, like, a celebrity's, underwear or whatever, or, like, she, burps in a jar or whatever, and people are willing to pay for that. People pay, like,
Well, how to a speaking
50K,
a jar.
right, 90K and all this kinda stuff. I'm like, "Geez, what's wrong with you people?"
It's, I
Yeah, so I mean, the
yeah.
IG, I mean, the TikTok actually has tangible value, so
It does.
I can see why some people would want it, but it's like, how much are you really willing to cough up? I don't know. I feel like if it really did not come back,
Yeah.
it was not accessible via VPN, but somehow someone had some magic phone where it was still accessible, I'd probably pay like a couple grand. Honestly, I'd pay a couple grand
I
just
think the
because,
OF girls would definitely pay 40, 50,000
yeah,
because they're missing daily.
and that's their entertainment, dude. That's why they exist.
Exactly. I mean, like,
you know? But yeah, I mean, from a business sense, it's important, has a lot of research and stuff.
Mhm.
I pay a couple K to bring TikTok back, but I'm glad I don't have to.
I know.
It's back in the game for now.
Back in the game. Well,
Yeah.
back for those who actually never deleted it.
Yeah.
And why would you delete that off of your phone anyway? We've got so many apps I don't even know about
Yeah.
that are on my phone that are just like waiting to have the like little cloud thing that I haven't pressed download.
Right, because you haven't used it.
Yeah, I've been using
I
it for a
mean,
while.
if you haven't used it in that long that it has a cloud thing that goes back up,
But I did that for TikTok, but for other things, yeah.
but, I think you shouldn't be that mad that it's gone because you haven't used it enough.
Exactly.
Got clouded away or whatever.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
it's interesting to see like, something like that happening in America. I'm not gonna get too political, but just that it is neat, or it's not neat. It's just interesting to see that something could be banned because they talked about it for such a long time,
Yeah.
at least 3 years or something like that, or 2.5, and then it actually happened for hours or whatever it was.
It's so interesting that people will change their opinion on a platform and how it works the moment that a certain party they don't like gets behind it, which is really interesting because I remember back in 2020, everyone that was more, how do I say this, progressive was all about TikTok nonstop.
Right.
And a lot of people, not including me, but a lot of conservatives were definitely against TikTok and they hated it. But the moment that someone
Yep.
whom I like, orange person, changed his point of view, and he changed his point of view primarily because of his son, because his son is young and really smart, and he's like freaking 6'9", and he helped Orange Man, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
change his mind and see the value of TikTok. The moment that became endorsed by said person, everyone on the progressive side all of a sudden hated it, and they're like, "Well, I mean, why are you bringing back TikTok?" And I'm like, I don't understand. Is this not what you wanted?
Yeah.
So I'm just glad it's back. If anyone tries to take it away, I hate you.
I
Don't
mean,
try to take it away, okay? There's plenty of other things we can get rid of besides TikToks.
I would think the same thing.
I mean, and this is the comment that I saw that was everywhere, which is I mean, makes sense to me.
Mhm.
People are all like, "So how can you ban TikTok but not like OnlyFans?" And I'm like, "Is the hate really that strong?"
I know. That's wild to me too. I mean, not it's for people who are,
Yeah.
I'm sex positive or whatever. For
Yeah.
people that want to do that kind of stuff or whatever, it's
Yeah.
nothing bad. But you're right. I mean,
I'm
people
just
like,
saying, but like, yeah, but one thing is like, TikTok shows content that's what I would say, from E-rated
Right.
up until maybe, I don't know, R-rated, because they're not supposed to be at
Well,
17 stuff. There's
I
some
think
stuff.
X stuff because
Yeah.
I saw a baby like anytime for whatever reason my
Yeah.
FYP page had a bunch of girls that had fake babies that were sucking on titties.
Okay.
It's crazy, man. I don't know why I got that on my FYP page. They're like, yeah, and they're like,
Yeah,
but if you look at it, you're going,
but look, but people were making such a big deal for that kind of stuff, right? Even though that was like 0.001% of the content on there, but you have OnlyFans that is 100% of that
Whatever.
content is that, right?
absolutely.
And so when you look at like perspective, it's like, okay, oh, OnlyFans is okay because it's not stealing your data and giving it to the Chinese. I don't understand. It was all bull
Yeah,
crap.
it was.
The truth of the matter was that people were getting the facts on stuff. People were getting the facts on like how certain clothes are killing you, how certain foods are killing you, how there's crazy stuff going on in the world, and big organizations didn't like that, dude. And I think it's kind of interesting when you're like a marketing person and you have clients that are on both sides of the weird spectrum, and you just have to make a decision and say, this is what I represent, whether you like it or not, it's me.
Right.
And I feel that nowadays, like, creators just have to say that up front, because it's so sad that like you can get blackmailed and like people try to attack your business because of your personal beliefs, which is just ridiculous to me. So I'm always an advocate for free speech
Absolutely.
and the freedom to promote yourself in any kind of way, shape or form. But yeah, I just found it kind of interesting that people are so politicized when it comes to things that they would rather remove an app that tells you the truth than remove something that, although sure, some people can say it's fun or whatever, it's OnlyFans, but it's a non-essential piece of society. There's other platforms that you can utilize for that, yet that wasn't being criticized.
At all.
It's kind of interesting.
I mean, the only thing was getting criticized was just that, which was TikTok, which is, it makes sense. I mean, take away things that people potentially like and can, I mean, like if it's making us dumbing us down or whatever, that's true or not true, whatever. I'm not even get
Okay.
to that.
Okay. No. But look at this.
Okay.
It's okay. So, because people will say, "Oh, TikTok is dumbing you down, dumbing you down." Okay. TikTok was one of the major reasons why a lot of people discovered that there was a lot of forever chemicals in certain plastics and stuff like that, because big old government wouldn't talk about that kind of stuff. All of a sudden, you found out that like spandex, for example, is really bad for women. And the other thing too is like as someone who obviously is married, and like I don't like things that end up trying to kill my spouse or kill my family members.
Absolutely.
And so TikTok was letting a lot of people know about stuff like that.
There's a blue
Spandex
guy-
are really bad.
Yeah.
They have effects on people's what's it called? They're endocrine disruptors and stuff like that. They affect their hormones, affect their fertility, all this kind of stuff. Because when the spandex heats up when you work out, it releases those forever chemicals into your skin, which is the equivalent of you eating, small micro pieces of plastic or whatever. So like, they talk about TikTok dumbing you down, yet they're literally manufacturing stuff that they make us eat or wear every day that literally dumbs us down, because a lot of these forever chemicals cause memory loss and dementia. So I'm like, yeah, thanks. I'll enjoy my brain rot content over receiving unintentional dementia because you guys are feeding me stuff without my knowledge. You're injecting meat with like vaccines or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know.
It's just, and I, like I said, I learned some things about blue and red dye. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
how do they make that? Well,
Yeah.
and they're showing these little micro, things that are not supposed to be inside your body, and they're crushing them. And I'm like, wait a minute, I did that with Skittles or whatever the hell I'm eating. I'm like,
Right?
Not anymore.
Why does it always have to be the good stuff too, dude?
It's always good stuff. It's crazy candy.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't eaten candy like that in many, many years, but it is nice to see that there is things that your FYP page is going to follow what you're actually clicking on. And I
That's
feel like,
so true.
and I feel like if your forever page, whatever that, or your For You page is dedicated to you actually trying to learn stuff,
Yeah.
then it's gonna the logarithms or whatever.
Yeah, algorithm. Yeah, it's
yeah.
so much like educational content if that's what you want.
Right.
Like, the fun part about TikTok algorithms too, I'll talk about specifically, it's different from like other algorithms, is that it affects you based on the time too, which is kind of weird. Like TikTok knows when it's like nighttime, and it knows that at nighttime I enjoy more scary content. So my content progressively gets scarier in the nighttime, and then in the daytime it'll be, I don't know, like more dank stuff or whatever, or like just brain rot, fun content and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, this gets me. It's kind of interesting.
It learns at a rate that I never understand. I'm afraid to even try to understand. But I wish my dad was alive to see this stuff, because he would be like, the internet's broken. I mean, that, it really is. Stuff that we see, and between some of the guys that are showing me stuff in memes,
Yeah.
I just about fall out. I'm like, what is going on right now?
Dude, I feel like a lot of the hate that comes from, like, these big boomers that should retire and not be in politics at all, a lot of the hate that comes from it is just because they haven't been shown the right memes, dude. Come on, if you tell me you scroll through TikTok for, like, 20 minutes, you're gonna tell me you don't like anything on that platform at all,
Gonna find you.
you're just dead, dude. You got no conscience, you got no, like, enjoyment, like, what do you exist?
You're gonna
Why
find
do you
something
exist?
you're gonna enjoy a lot,
No.
and it's gonna eventually hit you,
Yeah.
and you're gonna get more of it,
Yeah.
and it creates a dopamine for you to keep scrolling. Because
Yeah.
I just sometimes start scrolling, and before I know
Oh,
it, it's 1 a.m. or 12:30, midnight, and I gotta go to bed about 1:30,
yeah.
and then before I know it, I'm like, oh my god, it's been an hour.
I mean, yeah, but this
It's
is the other side of it too, which is like taking like a mental break from that
yeah,
stuff too,
getting out.
from
Yeah,
those dopamines. It's actually pretty helpful. And I feel that sometimes it's like counterintuitive, especially if you're anyone that's like involved in like being a creator or marketer or social media person. You're like, why would I take time off? Like I need to study and all this kind of stuff. But reality is, it's like your brain is just like any other muscle. Like if you keep stressing it, you're not going to be as
Mhm.
creative as you need to be. So take a break from the brain rot a little bit
Yeah,
and, enjoy nature and stuff while you still can.
yeah.
And, that's going to have an effect in your body. I mean, even taking a breath of fresh air, the air goes inside, circulates in your brain and helps literally, give you a reboot. Sometimes that's what we all need. We all need a little bit of a reboot. So,
Yeah.
you talk about like marketing secrets,
Mhm.
get some more sleep, take some time off,
Work out
like
if you can.
really basic stuff. Yeah, work out if you can. Like have your voice notes while you're working out. I find that sometimes it's really useful. Because sometimes I'll just like figure something out. Even if it's in the freaking middle of the night or whatever. I'm like, oh dude, that's a good idea. Dude, just have your phone, or I don't know if you're really old school, have your notebook and be like, that's a good idea. Like simple secrets like that. Like don't let those fleeting moments just go by because you may not get them back. You may wake up the next day and like be lost in the sauce of like fun brain rot content, and then you'll completely forget about that idea. So
Yeah, it's funny. I mentioned an idea that I want to do for this is the newest ideas that I've seen a lot of memes or whatever for TikTok are someone that's trying to sell a Timu toothbrush. And what they do is they're like, hey, I can't tell you right now because they're about to kick me out.
yeah,
I want to tell you about this special toothpaste or toothbrush that is doing XYZ. Well, I'm going to do the same commercial I'm going to be inside the movie theater and I'm gonna have Garrett, someone with the iPhone 16 shoot me like as
yeah,
I'm walking out, like, guys, I can't give all this information about how to make movies, but here's what we're gonna do. Let
right.
me tell you something real quick before
Yeah,
they
it's
kick me
super
out of
fun.
here. But it's like, I can tell you that right now, but guess what? When you see this, someone else on someone else FYP, they're gonna take me seriously and gonna come see, B
That's
rated.
what's super exciting about like content nowadays. Like you got more power to the press. Press is now us content creators. More
Absolutely.
power towards like commercials and advertisement, because the new era of that is being more candid and just being yourself. Screw the big old fashioned, marketing company.
Right.
Not to go against, not to be counterintuitive, but I don't see myself as that. I see myself as someone that's just a connector to other businesses, plugging them in with my creatives and just getting a good outcome. I don't see myself as like this big old tech giant
Right.
marketing agency. I don't think I'd ever even want to be that. I'd much rather just be something that has a really strong, impactful local effect.
Mhm.
Of course, you can always have other businesses, but as far as like my advances in marketing, I'm happy where the direction is. Of course, there's always room for growth. But I just think at the end of the day, if you're not having fun in it, and why are you doing it?
That's
You know?
exactly it. That's a great way to finish this off. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, then why are you doing it? It's a great question you should be asking
Yeah.
yourself. Daily. And I think that you and I do, and people that are around us, every single day you've got to make a commitment to yourself,
Yeah.
a commitment to being great. And I think that that's the biggest step, which is, I know for a fact when we get up, we're doing, side things are coming together on things.
The
We're
wackest
having
time ever, dude.
ever.
So
It's the best. It's the best ever. I mean, we've had so much fun.
yeah.
The projects that we're doing, just all the things we've done so far, thus far, have been a lot of fun. It's been an adventure. So I really appreciate you for that. And I know that the guys that have been with us on this journey so far too as well.
Rock on, dude.
So thank you for being on the show today, Marlon. And you guys like and subscribe if you like what you're listening to. and give us more ideas of things we can talk about on the show. Thank you, and have a good night.